What's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for watching today. We are building again in Planet Zoo, and today we are building a habitat for the reticulated giraffe. I've kind of gone off the rails, I feel like, a little bit with the Africa pack because the last two builds that I've really been inspired to do have been warthog and reticulated giraffe. I mean, we did do an African penguin exhibit, so at least that was a new animal from the pack, but I just kind of got inspired by a specific reference picture I found of the Sacramento Zoo. Ooh, I think it was the Sacramento Zoo if I'm remembering correctly, but there was a really cool screenshot of this kind of raised platform viewing area for their giraffe habitat with a brick building in the background, a very simple brick building in the background. So that's what I went off of for this. And the idea behind this habitat is that I was attempting to make something that would be easily downloadable from the workshop. I think I've explained in videos past where it takes a little bit of finagling to make something easy to download from the workshop because the terrain doesn't always work. Water is a nightmare. Barriers and pathing you have to put in yourself because they don't transfer over easily. So I was really trying to make something that would be fairly simple to be basically just a click and drop habitat. So that being said, this habitat is already up on the Steam Workshop. If you guys do want to download it, you can search on the workshop for Simply Savannah, or there is a link down below to the workshop so that you can download this yourself. If you do so, go ahead and leave some love. If you like it, let me know, leave a comment, that always helps. And I hope to do more of these builds in the future. So the warthog habitat and the meerkat and the fennec fox were the other ones that I did that were kind of made for the workshop, so to speak. My next plan would be the white rhino because I have a habitat that is almost done for that one, but just need to get the little finishing details for it finished. I had a lot of fun building this one, especially because this is one that we built on stream. So if you guys haven't come to hang out yet, we do stream every Sunday from about 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, except for this last Sunday. I did take a weekend off, and boy, oh boy, did I enjoy it. I had so much fun, and honestly, I didn't even do anything. I just had fun relaxing. It was actually Matt's birthday on Sunday, and so I spent a little bit of time with him and family. I made a yummy cake, if I have to say so myself. I know none of you guys can taste test it to verify that it was yummy, but I thought it was yummy. And we had a good dinner and just kind of relaxed. But, you know, with the past few weeks, honestly, not even due to content creation, my job has been really busy. For those of you that don't know, I do work in a humane education department with animals, but we have summer camp going on right now and it is super busy. So I've worked a couple overtime days and it's been really hot and humid and it's just kind of taken it out of me. So I decided that this last weekend, I was honestly just going to take a break, and that way I didn't feel pressured to do anything. And if I wanted to nap all day, I could. I didn't end up napping all day. I probably should have, because that would have been fantastic, but I was a little bit productive around my house. I worked on a couple other videos for you guys, but taking the weekend off has really kind of reset my mind and given me a lot more motivation. So there's some rumblings of some game releases coming out hopefully soon, or at least some information. I'm really hoping for some more Jurassic World Evolution 2 information and some Prehistoric Kingdom information somewhat soon, because those are the two big ones that I'm kind of like chomping at the bit to get my hands on because I want to play those ones. But anyway, back to what we're doing here. So just making a very simple fence. You see this a lot in giraffe habitats, at least when I was looking them up. These would be what I imagine would be hot wire to keep the giraffes back, but nice and simple so that the guests can actually see through and it doesn't obstruct the view of the giraffes at all. I'm using this fence piece that I did make in a fencing pack that I put on the workshop. Unfortunately, I actually had to raise it up out of the ground ground, because as I was mentioning before with making things easy to download to the workshop, if you sink things too far into the ground, when you go to put a habitat barrier around it and save it as a habitat blueprint, it doesn't register and it doesn't copy over. So I did have to raise that fence up quite a bit, as well as a couple other pieces to make it work. The look and the feel still comes out the same, I think, so no harm there, but I did have to raise that up. But something to keep in mind, if you are making something for the workshop as a habitat, you can't sink it too far into the ground. That includes trees. So I have a really hard time making habitats for the workshop because you can't sink trees all the way down into the ground to act as bushes because they don't transfer over. And you guys know, if you're not new to the channel, if you're not new to Planet Zoo at all, that's one of my favorite things to do, is to sink some of the trees down so that they look like bushes, but unfortunately they don't copy over. This little rock kind of detailing I thought was pretty nice. I added some of those Africa pieces from the base game, the like wooden log pieces, to just kind of make it look like that would be an area that they wouldn't want the giraffes to go in. That way they could put some more plants and foliage. Keeping a lot of these Africa enclosures pretty plain on the inside, especially for the larger hoofstock, or like we did in Tali Zoo for the Indian elephants, because those big, large hoofstock, or the pachyderms, the elephants, are really, really destructive. So wanting to make sure that they don't stomp over all of the foliage that you put in there, but they can reach everything, obviously. So ideally, these would all be, you know, giraffe-safe plants. I have no idea off the top of my head if they actually are giraffe-safe plants, but that would be the idea, that they'd all be giraffe-safe. Doing a really simple roof structure here for the guest viewing area. I put out a few options and I let Stream decide. We kind of narrowed it down, and we ended up going with the thatched roof. I just tried and true, really love that thatched roof that came from the South American pack. That was us deciding. That's why we've paused here for so long. I was letting everybody kind of decide because I was so torn. What I didn't want to do is I use it all the time, I feel like, in the Africa builds, and that's because it's Africa themed, right? Because it looks the part. But I was trying to see if there was something different that we could use so that we don't just get repetitive with all of our builds. But in the end, it was too good. It looked too nice. So I just went ahead and went with it. You know, I really do like the texture and the color of that thatched roof a lot better than I like the Africa one. The Africa one is very thick and it's very like yellowy orangey, where this one almost has kind of a greeny undertone to it, if that makes any sense at all. I don't know, I like the texture of this one so much better than the one that actually is like the Africa themed piece in game, so I tend to gravitate towards using that one. I didn't do it here, but what I will do most oftentimes is actually cover up those bamboo structures that come with it, because oftentimes I just want the texture of the top of the roof and not the sides, like not the bamboo look. I just want the thatched look. But I didn't cover it up in this case. I thought it looked okay. So now we are starting on what would be the little bit of backstage area. I don't do any interior in this building. Shocker, I know, I don't like doing the interiors, but we do end up putting just a little bit of an implied couple doors and a little bit of fencing on the side to make it look like, you know, that would be where they would let the giraffes in or out, or kind of change them around. There's a little holding pen on the side, so if they needed to, you know, play musical giraffes, they could, to make sure the right ones were in the enclosure. And again, just kind of basically copying this for the most part off of the reference picture that I was looking at. So not too much interesting about that building. But while we are getting going with that, I do want to talk a little bit about our giraffe friends like we normally do, right? So, giraffes travel in loose, informal herds and aren't territorial. They roam freely in search of food. For the most part, life in a giraffe herd is calm. Bulls will spar to establish dominance, but then will continue to graze side by side afterwards. I thought that was funny. It's like they bicker, they fight, but then they're all good afterwards. The males don't tend to drive off other males in the herd, so you will have big herds with multiple males and multiple females. It's not like a lion pride or something like that, where there is only one true dominant male and he drives off everybody else when they reach sexual maturity. So giraffe herds are not like that. Giraffes spend most of their time feeding. Their extraordinary height allows them to browse on leaves that other grazing herbivores can't reach. Giraffes curl their long black tongues around leaves or new shoots in the upper branches of the trees and pull them into their mouths. They prefer the thorny acacia tree to any other plant. And the thorny acacia tree actually looks a lot like what the fever tree looks like, if I'm remembering correctly. Like, it's got these thorns and stuff on it, but the giraffes are able to get their tongues around it. I believe I'm remembering that right. I feel like I learned that somewhere. If I'm wrong, you guys can let me know, but I feel like that's what those acacia trees look like. Or do we have those acacia trees in game? Are they those the darker green ones? Now I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. I'm not obviously in the game right now. I'm watching my speed build and talking to you guys, so I cannot verify that fact. But if I'm wrong, let me know. A giraffe can eat well over 100 pounds of food per day. Now, taking into context, that is a lot of food because they're eating leaves, right? It's not like they're eating meat. Leaves don't weigh that much. So to weigh out foliage and leaves and plant material in 100 pounds is a lot of food for a giraffe to eat. So that's actually pretty impressive. The other fun fact is actually not on here, but it just came to mind. Their long necks. So obviously giraffes have very long necks. That's kind of what they're known for. It's how they reach the top of the trees and things like that. People actually think incorrectly that they have more bones in their neck than we do, and that's how it gets so long. And that's actually not true. Their bones are actually just longer. I believe they have about 7 different bones in their neck, which is about the same as many other mammals. So they just have longer vertebrae, longer bones in their neck than other animals, and that's how they get their height. So that I find really interesting, that they just kind of got stretched. Like many large land mammals, giraffes doze more than sleep. Deep sleep is brief and very dangerous because of the vulnerability to predators. They're out in the open. Giraffes are big and conspicuous animals. It's not like they're going to be hiding behind trees or bushes, so they don't have a lot of cover. So deep sleep is very rare. They're just going to kind of doze on and off. While young giraffes lie down periodically throughout the day, adults rarely do. They rest while standing, and they may lay down after dark, but only briefly. And I find that fascinating too. Can you imagine living your entire life and really not, as we're talking, this giraffe lays down in front of us. He's proving us wrong. Really never laying down for much time at all. I mean, I find that really interesting. Legs would get really tired. I would want to lay down after a little while and take a break, right? But they don't. And then the next section says, "Who eats me?" So this is from the Maryland Zoo, the information that I'm pulling, but this is going to talk about their predators, right? So lions, leopards, hyenas, and wild dogs may try to prey on the giraffes, but it's not an easy task. Despite their gentle tendencies, adult giraffes are formidable foes and can inflict serious injury on any predator, including lions, with blows from their front hooves. According to data for giraffes in the Serengeti, the mortality rate for adults is very low, only around 3%. While for most vulnerable baby giraffes aged 6 months or less, the mortality rate is almost 50%. So that just tells you that the predators are going after the babies, unfortunately, and not the full-grown adults. So it looks like once the babies get to be 6 months or older, obviously they have a far better chance at surviving. And then last but not least, conservation. We always have to talk about a little bit of conservation with the animals when we're doing these builds, because that is something near and dear to my heart. A species-wide assessment of giraffes has resulted in a vulnerable listing on the IUCN Red List, the world's leading conservation organization, with the caveat that populations of giraffes are scattered and fragmented, with different growth trajectories and threats. Currently, the 9 subspecies, 4 are increasing, 4 are decreasing, and 1 one is stable. So it looks like they're kind of all over the board. This is not reticulated giraffe information specifically. This is just giraffe information altogether. But, you know, still being fragmented is a problem because, you know, that will lead to decreases in genetic diversity, and that just kind of leads to the decline of some of the population. So being scattered and fragmented isn't the best ever, but it does look like as of right now, the IUCN does have reticulated giraffes specifically listed as vulnerable. So that is good. So anyway, if you guys have any fun giraffe facts for me, I obviously always love learning about things that I didn't know before. If I got anything wrong or there's anything you want to share, leave those down in the comments. It's my favorite thing to read. You guys have wonderful information on some of the animals, and I love learning because you guys have some fun facts that I'd never heard about before. So go ahead and leave those down below if you do have them. We don't have too much longer in the speed build itself. Let's see, it looks like 5 minutes or so, but we're working on the door. I'm not super crazy with how these came out, these kind of sliding barn doors that I built. Again, I was going off of the reference picture and doing my best to match them, but using those panel pieces, even rotating them around, it's really tiley, it's really repetitive, and so I'm not entirely sold on how that looks. So if you guys do download this and make new doors or alter it or something like that, send me pictures on Discord, on Twitter, on Instagram. I'd be curious to see what you guys do with that, or let me know if you have a suggestion down below, because I was really having a hard time kind of mimicking the kind of paneled look that the reference picture had without the pattern, without the texture being too repetitive with the pieces that I had. You can see right here, I'm moving the fence out just to make it fit and kind of putting on the finishing details. I didn't do too much in the guest area. In fact, I really didn't do any guest area stuff at all. And that is on purpose. So this habitat, like I've said, 5-6 times now, is for the workshop. It's for you guys to download. So I tend to not do much of the guest area because I don't know what kind of zoo you're going to fit this into. And I want you guys to be able to build and mold this to whichever project you're putting it into. Excuse me, that tree, that's the tree I was talking about. Is that the acacia tree? Is that what it's called? That greenish one that I just put down before I started doing this flooring stuff? Let me know, or I'll have to double check, but honestly, I'll probably forget. So if you guys let me know, that might be easier. But anyway, so I didn't do a lot of guest stuff for that reason, because I want you guys to be able to kind of put what you want there and make it fit your zoo. I mean, ideally, your zoo is going to have an Africa section, or it's just going to be Africa themed or safari themed or whatever it may be. Otherwise, this enclosure might look a little bit out of place. But yeah, so as far as just making it kind of mesh and gel with your project, makes it a little easier if I just don't put things there. I have a hard time when I use reference pictures, when I use other people's builds as references, I have a hard time kind of adjusting it to fit what I want. I can replicate really well, but kind of like taking something as a reference, I find a bit hard. I'm such a visual person, and I can't really picture things in my head all that well. I have to like build them out. So I spend a lot of time kind of building and then destroying and building and destroying and building and destroying, unless I'm kind of copying almost exactly, which is what we're doing here, what I'm seeing in the reference picture. Something I'm trying to get better at, because like Estan and Drew are wonderful at this. I mean, they'll show a concept art, right? And they'll take like bits and pieces of like 4 different concept arts and make something that looks cohesive. And I just struggle to do that. I don't know. I just struggle to kind of like mesh things together to make them look look nice rather. I just kind of have to replicate or copy exactly kind of bits and pieces here and there. But anyway, something to get better at, I guess. finishing off some of the railing here, and then we throw down some education signs. I did do pathing here just for the thumbnail, for the pictures, and then obviously for the video, so that it looks nice and it looks completed, but just know that this won't copy over into the habitat. I'm not quite sure what we're doing here. We are doing something for stream, but we're staring at this giraffe for whatever reason, and I don't quite remember why, but we'll get back to building very shortly. While we're staring at this giraffe, oh look, there's a little baby in the background. I actually didn't notice that. Right? That's a baby. I think it is. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just one of the smaller adults. Anyway, well, we're back to building now. If you guys have enjoyed this video, do remember to leave a like, leave a comment if you want to, subscribe for more, of course, all that fun YouTube-y stuff. I'm trying to get better at reminding during my videos, because as not annoying, but I feel weird asking for it, but it does help. It really does. So on videos that you do enjoy, I try to leave a comment, if not at the very least a like, on basically every video that I watch, because it takes a lot of time and effort from the content creators in order to make those videos, and it's super easy to do. So I'm trying to get better as a YouTuber myself, as a content, if I can talk. Maybe I should focus on being able to talk first rather than reminding you guys to like my videos. It's because I'm feeling awkward. I don't like asking for things. But anyway, you get my point. I'm not going to drive it into the ground. We're going to finish up a little bit of fencing here. If you guys don't already, remember you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and we do have a Discord. We just finished up a Discord contest, so we'll have a new one in the next few weeks after I kind of get voting and stuff all ready for the one that just ended. But if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, we do run those specifically over on the Discord channel. And lots of fun people over there as well for lots of help and reference pictures and questions and things like that. So yeah, I don't have too much else to say for you guys. We have just a couple more minutes left in the speed build here, and I'm gonna leave you with that. Of course, there are end cinematics at the very end of the video, so if you want to see the pretty cinematic shots of the final habitat, I think my next project again is going to be that white rhino habitat, and then I don't know, leave your suggestions down below. I'm kind of without a project right now because unfortunately I still can't get back into Socorro Zoo, so really the only project I have going on right now is Tolly Zoo, so feeling a bit lost is the wrong word, but just without a focus, I guess. So suggestions are always welcome, especially at this time. So anyway, about a minute left of the speed build, then we jump into those cinematics. Again, if you did enjoy, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Super enjoyed talking to you guys today. I feel like I haven't recorded a voiceover in a while, so hopefully it went as smoothly as I think it went. I didn't stumble over my words too badly, but until next time, guys, I will talk to you in the next one. Bye!